We got to get to these kids before they get to me here at this jail. And so starting right now, it's a brand new day, folks. It is a brand new day where school discipline is going to be put back in place in Brevard Public Schools. And if you're a little snot that's coming to our classes to be disruptive, you might want to find someplace else to go to school, because we're going to be your worst nightmare starting right now.
A sheriff in Florida is just, longing for the good old days of corporal punishment in schools. That's what you just heard. He says that kids these days are misbehaving, they're acting up, they're distracting others, and because they're not sufficiently punished, they behave this way. So he plans to do something about it. Sheriff Wayne Ivey of Brevard County promised that with the help of the school district's newly elected conservative leadership, which ran on the promise to end so-called woke policies in schools, these students will no longer go unpunished. In fact, during this press conference in front of a county jail, he used the example of some kids refusing to quiet down and put their phones away during a school assembly that he attended, and signaled his support for, physical punishment. Let's watch.
Not long ago, we had an assembly that was taking place, an anti-bullying assembly that was taking place at Bayside High School, and I witnessed 2 of our teachers do everything they could to quiet down 3 kids. I'm talking about multiple times they approached these kids and told them to hold it down, to stop having their phones out in the middle of assembly. Not once did these kids care what those teachers had to say. They weren't threatened with any type of discipline or anything else, because quite frankly, they're not worried about getting in trouble. They know nothing's gonna happen to them. They know they're not gonna be given after school detention. They're not gonna be suspended. They're not gonna be expelled. Or like in the old day, they're not gonna have the cheeks of their ass torn off for not doing right in class.
Oh my God. Okay, well, this sheriff really prides himself as being the most politically incorrect sheriff in the country. So part of it is, trying to live up to his personal branding, which is pretty gross. But I'm really curious what the parents think, right? So it's one thing to hear tough on kids, I'm politically incorrect sheriff say these things, but I would like to hear from the parents and what they think about teachers, educators. And by the way, I want to hear from the teachers too. Do they want to put their hands on kids? I know I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that as an educator. And if I had, look, I told you, Ben, recently, there are a lot of different reasons why I don't have kids. But one of the main reasons is, I love so deeply, and I'm so obsessed with like protecting people around me. Like, I don't know how I wouldn't get violent in trying to protect my kids. And if I heard that someone put their hands on my kids, I don't know if there'd be anything that could stop me from causing harm, bodily harm, to the individual who put his or her hands on my child.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm gonna add that to the list of reasons why I'm not having kids also. As many reasons I can have to justify it to anybody I'm dating. I think that's helpful. But this sheriff's definitely trying just to be a badass for badassery's sake. I don't remember there was ever a time when children had their ass cheeks torn off. I don't think that's even a procedure you could do pre-Kardashian. And now you can have it done in the post-Kardashian era, but it does require a team of medical professionals. You can't just have a sheriff or a teacher do it. The teachers in this county have said that they do agree there's a behavior problem in this county, and I do think that there needs to be more implementation of stricter punishment on kids. It should not be hitting the kids. That's something that went by the wayside in America a long time ago, and for good reason, because we're not Neanderthals anymore. Even parents shouldn't be hitting their kids. But he did mention something I didn't notice the first time I saw this clip, is that he witnessed these kids misbehaving at Bayside High School, which is the high school, as we all know, from Saved by the Bell. So just send them to Mr. Belding. Belding will grab them by the ear, give them a talking to, and shove them in a locker. That's a fine solution. It's easy to be tough as a sheriff when you're talking about a fictional high school. When it gets real, you have to have modern day solutions that actually apply to children who exist in the world and not in Saturday morning sitcoms.
Can we just address how insane it is when you have parents showing up at school board meetings like hyperventilating over the thought that their kids might be learning American history. It's like, oh, it is dangerous to teach kids about our history of racism and slavery. Dangerous, how dare you, sir? How dare you? But like sheriff's like doing a full-blown press conference in front of a prison. You got the barbed wire and everything. He's talking about like ripping the ass cheeks off your kids. Where are the parents?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. I think the line for parents in modern America should be, don't teach kids accurate history. Let the sheriff rip their ass cheeks off. That seems like a fair balance between both sides. And my brain apparently has also now been corrupted by Fox News. But this seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I'll bring up is there are some systemic issues we could address that could make it easier for teachers to take control of their classrooms, namely classrooms that don't have hundreds of students in them. Mainly a situation in which there are the appropriate resources in place to ensure that kids are getting the education they need, they're getting the attention they need. And look, one other thing I'll say is, it is true that I think technology has shortened everyone's attention spans. It's definitely true for kids. I see it right in front of me all the time. When they're constantly on their iPads, their cell phones, and they're just so immersed in technology 24/7, I think it does have an impact on them.
I disagree, Anna. I'm not even really sure what you're saying, but I disagree. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we on?
So I think a lot of that frustration about their behavior probably stems partly from that. And then the lack of resources that educators obviously need to be able to command the classroom effectively. Yeah. And look, sometimes kids do need to be punished. I agree with that. But putting your hands on them, using violence to discipline them is not an effective strategy. And also, like, what are the limits? Are there any limits? I mean, is the sheriff gonna get into any details? Can they use objects to, carry out this punishment? Are they gonna use belts, switches? What are they gonna do? It's just it's so dumb. And it is a symptom of what I see all over the place. Doesn't matter what your political identity is. It's the obsession with self-branding. That's what the sheriff is doing. He's self-branding. I am the badass sheriff. This is my brand. This is what I'm known for. This is the PR stunt that I'm pulling, without any real thought for what he is advocating for here. And again, I want to hear from the parents. We've heard from the sheriff. We know what he thinks. Are the parents for this? You want some person to put their hands on your child because he or she is acting up? Really?
Just ban cell phones and the behavior of children will get much, much better. Ban cell phones in the classroom, except of course when shady incidents happen, then let them pull it out only during shady incidents. I'd love to keep talking about this, but I'm getting a call. Hello?
You need to be spanked, Ben. That's what you need.
Fair enough.
You need to spank the sheriff.
Bring it on, Sheriff, tough guy.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.